Hey everybody, it's Jen Tarrant, and I wanted to talk to you today about balance. We've been exploring balance in my Monday and Wednesday morning class here, off and on, really for many years, but in earnest, we've been exploring it deeply for the last few months. And what really spurred me on was an article I saw in the Yoga Journal, and Dr. Ray Long was discussing the suppleness of the ankle joint and the muscles surrounding that joint, and how when we balance on one leg, for instance, so often our tendency is to try to make that ankle be as straight and solid and stable and unmoving as possible, and then we think that we have finally perfected the pose. But Dr. Long suggests that truly the strength of the balance may not be in that rigid immobility, but instead in a supple responsiveness. And this supple responsiveness is what I would like to discuss today. When you think about buildings, for instance, in an earthquake zone, the building that survives the earthquake is not the one that has the rigid, immovable structure, right? Instead, it's the building that has that strong center but is able to sway and move as the ground beneath it moves. Those are the ones that are able to withstand the storm. The same is true for trees, right? Whenever we have a new tree and we plant it in our yard and we have the stake next to it, or we have the lines going out from it that help it to stay strong in the midst of a storm, what we really need for that tree to do to stay strong and withstand storms to come is not to have shallow roots that spread out right under the surface and staked to a stake that's so strong and tied so tightly to it that it never moves. No, that sort of tree, if that stake breaks, the tree's definitely breaking. If the winds blow so hard, it uproots. The trees that are able to withstand the strong storm are the ones that have the deep roots, the ones that have the ability to move even at the trunk, even at the branches, to be able to weather the storm properly. And we are the same way. If you think about being in, say, tree pose, for instance, and that ankle is immovable and rigid, and the knee is locked out, and we're gripping in our core, and if someone were to come up and push us a little bit, we would probably nearly topple over before we were able to catch ourselves. That's not really beneficial if you think about the times when we actually need our balance. If you think about maybe hiking on a trail, what do you need to be able to stand rigid and immovable? No, absolutely not. What we need is to be able to supplely respond whenever our foot hits a rock that was loose and we slide a little bit. Or maybe we didn't realize the ground was uneven and we tip a little to the side and come right back to the center. Or even in a more urban example, maybe the sidewalk was uneven, or we didn't realize there was a curb. Or a more domestic example, what if there was a dog toy or a Lego or something in the floor and we didn't realize, and we start to trip over it? We need our feet, our ankles, and our core strength to be able to respond and come back to the center. That's where the strength in our balance truly lies, in our body, being able to respond no matter what comes our way. And I really like to take this lesson a little further now. If we think about our inner balance, the way we navigate life, the same is true. We're not strong and balanced when we're so rigid, we never move, we feel gripping, hanging on to something so that we don't fall. No, that sets us up to break when the storm gets too rough. However, when we're responsive, when we have that supple movement in our being down to the core, and life throws something our way, when we're able to let it push us a little and then we come back, that's when we're strong. You think about this in all of its applications. What if you get the bad phone call telling you that someone you love has been injured or has passed on? What if you have that disagreement with a coworker, or you get reprimanded by your boss? What if you're having difficulty in a personal relationship with a family member or a friend? Those are things that can shake us to our core. And if we're in a gripping place, we feel like we're going to break, and sometimes we do. But if we observe and feel the push of the difficult time, and it pushes on us one way and it pushes on us another, and we let ourselves move a little with it and then calmly come back to the center, this is when we're strong. So as you consider the next time you find balance either on the yoga mat or in exercise class, or even as you're doing something as simple as putting away the dishes, I hope that you remember about supple responsiveness in the body. But even more, I hope it's a reminder to consider the supple responsiveness of our inner being as life comes at us. That's all for today. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.